executive session. We're now in regular session. We're waiting for one additional member, Russ Petunias, who's now here. So we're going to get started with the agenda. Okay. So to begin with, is there a motion to adopt the minutes for from the December 13th meeting? Okay. And who approves? Everyone approves? Okay. All approve. Very good. Okay. So now we have Simone who's going to introduce the final rule amending sections 3-15 and 3-16 of both rules.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Like Amy said, this is the final rule amending sections 3-15 and 3-16 of subchapter A of chapter 3 of Title 48 of the Rules of the City of New York. These are the rules that govern the Environmental Control Board proceedings. And so we published the proposed rule in the city record on January 22nd, 2019, and held a public hearing on February 21st, 2019, and didn't receive any public comment. I did circulate this document called the Comparison of Proposed Rule to Final Rule. We made a few clarifications when the law department reviewed the rule. They had some suggestions that I thought would improve it. And so you can see in section 3-15A, which talks about the appeals decisions and when they become final determinations of the tribunal, and we had sort of cleaned up that language to make it clear when judicial review pursuant to CPLR Article 78 can begin. And so the only change we made from the proposed rule to the final rule is including the word appeals decisions, just to make it very clear that we were talking about appeals decisions and not hearing officer decisions. Although you could imply that by the fact that you're talking about the appeals unit, but we just, for the layperson, wanted to make it very, very clear. And then in subsection B of 3-15, this was just sort of cleanup. We added an S to appeals decisions just to be consistent with how we've been calling the superseding appeals decisions elsewhere. And then in 316A, the law department asked that we be more specific about what decisions we were talking about as well. And so we added some language that says if the board has not issued an appeals decision within 180 days from the filing of the appeal, which was the time frame that existed in the rule already, and that is from the charter, we added, or if the board has not issued a superseding appeals decision, again within 180 days from the request of the superseding appeal, that the respondent may, at that time, seek judicial review of the recommended decision. So we just wanted to clarify, since previously the rule only talked about final decisions generally and didn't distinguish between appeals decisions and superseding appeals decisions, that that's why we added that additional language. Does anyone have any questions?
Okay, so do we have a motion to adopt the new rules? Okay, and how many for? Myself, it's unanimous.
Great, very good, thank you.
Okay, so we're just going to discuss further the panel composition right now. Now I know we put off a vote on changing the composition because Doug wasn't here at the last meeting.
No,
Tom. I'm sorry, Tom. I'm sorry. I'm looking at Doug. So Tom wasn't here at the last meeting. Do you want to put it off again, continue with the panels as it is, and put off a vote about changing it going forward?
I guess the same reasoning applies, so.
Right. So we'll continue with the panels as they are, with having 2 citizen members as opposed to 3 until the next board meeting, and hopefully Tom will be here and we'll be able to take a vote on whether it will be forever after changing the panel.
We've been voting on it, this is Simone Salam.
Okay.
We've been voting on it each time.
I'm continuing it the way it is.
To the next board
Okay.
meetings, we may want to just do that
Okay.
again for consistency.
Very good. Okay, so do we have a motion just to continue the way the panel is with 2 citizen members? What? Oh, one citizen, I'm sorry, right. Sorry, 1 citizen member. 1 citizen member and 1 officio until the next board meeting. Do we have a motion for that? Okay. And everybody for? myself included, so that's unanimous. Thank you. All right, Russ.
All right.
Russ Kutunis is going to be
All
presenting.
right, Russell Kutunis with the Bureau of Legal Affairs, the Department of Environmental Protection. So for this board meeting, first, DEP's Bureau of Wastewater Treatment has a request for a cease and desist order for 691 Coney Island Avenue in Brooklyn. The respondent is Shaquille Kokar. This began in August of 2017 when a DEP inspector observed an overloaded grease interceptor and accordingly issued a summons. In October, a commissioner's order was issued to the respondent to install a variety of appropriately sized grease interceptors at the establishment. And once again observed a grossly overloaded grease interceptor. Inspections in November, January, and in November and January again resulted in observations of grossly overloaded grease interceptors and failure to comply with the order that had been issued in October. And finally, due to the fact that respondent had failed to appear for any of the hearings on the summonses as well as a mandatory compliance meeting, the Bureau decided that it was time to ask the board to approve a cease and desist order. So therefore, at this point, the Bureau is requesting that if the respondent does not, is requesting the issuance of a cease and desist order, and if they don't comply, termination of the water and sewer service to the premises.
Okay, so is there a motion to approve? Okay, and how many for? Okay, it's unanimous.
Okay. We also have 45 requests for cease and desist orders for failure to comply with commissioner's orders to install backflow prevention devices. In each of these cases, a DEP inspector has determined that the premises requires backflow prevention devices. The building owner has been issued an order to install them. After failure to comply with that order, a summons has been issued and adjudicated in violation, and there is still no compliance at each of these 45 premises. So in each of these cases, DEP is requesting that the board issue an order to cease and desist.
Okay, is there a motion to approve? Okay, and how many for?
And for noise this meeting, we have almost a year's worth of requests. We have 8 requests. I normally go through these individually, so I'm perfectly okay with doing that, but there are 8 of them, so we could vote on them individually, or if you wanted to vote on them collectively, it's, I could just quickly go through each one of them.
All right, let's see if we can vote on them collectively.
Okay. All right, so the first one that I have is for 516 Nostrand Avenue in Brooklyn. The respondent is Patty Hut B Incorporated, and they have been cited 3 times, most recently in December, for noise from their kitchen exhaust. And due to the continuing failure to comply, the department is asking the board to issue an order to cease and desist.
Any questions on that? No. Let's go to the next. We're going to try to.
Okay, we'll do it, okay. The next one is Lesky's Bakery at 7612 5th Avenue in Brooklyn. This one is for noise from refrigeration units. They've been cited 3 times, most recently in January, and are still not in compliance.
Any questions?
Okay, the next one is Session, New York at 98 South 4th Street in Brooklyn. This one is for excessive noise from the sound system, and and they have been cited 3 times, most recently in December. And based on continuing failure to comply, department is requesting an order to cease and desist.
Questions?
The next one is OG Produce, Inc., at 6664 Fresh Pond Road in Queens. This one is for refrigeration units, and they have been cited again 3 times and are still not complying. So again, the department is requesting an order to cease and desist.
Questions?
The next one is VC Chef LLC at 306 West 13th Street in Manhattan. This one is for noise from kitchen exhaust, and they have been cited again 3 times, most recently in January, and are still not complying.
Questions?
Next, we have Golda Rivka 2 LLC. Premises is 210 West 251st Street in the Bronx. This is a rather unusual one. We actually have 2 of these because the noise is from a water pump. I don't know that we've ever had a cease and desist on noise from a water pump before, but this time around we have 2. They've been cited for excessive noise from this water pump. Again, 3 times, still not in compliance, and requesting an order to cease and desist.
Questions?
I just would remark likewise that in my tenure on this board, I don't remember.
What's that?
In my tenure on this board, I don't remember ever having one for a water
A
pump.
water pump that's the first time I remember ever having excessive noise from a water pump, but I guess if they're not being maintained correctly, or if they're old, they can be noisy.
So if they don't comply, would this result in the cessation of water service?
You know, I don't know precisely what the water pumps at these 2 locations are used for. It says, I'm looking at one of the summonses for the next one at 3515 Henry Hudson Parkway. It says that the noise is coming from 1 cold water pump. So I'm not sure what the effect of turning off the cold water pump would be.
Right, I was just curious.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's it?
No, 2 more. So the next one, which is the other one with the water pump, is 3515 Owners Corp. at 3515 Henry Hudson Parkway in the Bronx. Again, 3 violations have been issued, with the most recent one in January, and they're still not in compliance. And the last one, the respondent, is called Part of the Solution. The premises is 2759 Webster Avenue in the Bronx. This is a facility that provides services to homeless and indigent people, and they have a food kitchen and food preparation facility at the location. So there is a kitchen exhaust, and they have had noise from the kitchen exhaust on 3 occasions. Again, most recently in January, and are still not in compliance.
Okay, any questions on any of these 8 ones that Russ just recited? No questions? Okay, so we're going to take, is there a motion to vote on all 8 requests for a C&D? Okay, and how many for? So included? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, and now we have Kelly Corso, who's going to give the PCNO reports.
Good morning, Kelly Corso, Assistant Commissioner, Parents Division. We have 26 pre-sale reports for the board today. All of them have to do with backflow devices. 24 of them, the hearing officers have recommended that there be no further action because the respondents presented evidence of compliance at the hearings. In one of the additional ones, the hearing officer recommended that COD proceedings be discontinued because the DEP has determined that the respondent has complied. In the final one, there was a recommendation for a water shutoff. The respondent is Incido Rodriguez, and the premises is Bailey Laundry, and it's at 3114 Bailey Avenue in the Bronx. This facility was the subject of a commissioner's order back in 2009, and the respondent did not comply with the order. A summons was issued, respondent did not appear at the hearing, and in November 2012, the board issued a cease and desist order. There have been hearings, there have been 8 hearings on this matter from 2013 until early this year, and the case has been adjourned 7 times for the respondent to bring in some kind of evidence to show that it's in compliance or attempting to comply, and there has been no credible evidence of compliance. So the hearing officer at the most recent hearing on February 12th has recommended that the water be shut off. In each hearing, the respondent or the rep was warned that this was a possibility. To date, they still have not come into compliance.
Any questions?
Well, the usual question, is this just a commercial premises?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this is
The
one of the
laundry.
first ones that we're going back through all of the old files for the premises that are not in compliance. And the ones that they're selecting to serve with these water shut-off warning notices, that they have to call oath immediately, get back in front of the hearing officer and show that they're in compliance. They're being selected specifically after inspections because they're purely commercial, no residential, and they're doing laundromats and dry cleaners right now. So this is just a laundromat and nothing else.
Let's take these, I first want to deal with the 24. Is there a motion to approve on the 24 where no stealing or other action is? Okay. Okay, and how many approve? Approve? Okay, very good, thank you. Now, the one backflow where the hearing officer is recommending discontinuance, do we have a motion to vote on that? Approve that? Okay, and how many approve? All approve myself. And now on the last one that you, Kelly talked about, that has to do with the water shut off, do we have a motion to approve that? Okay, and how many for? Okay, thank you, Kelly. Hey, is there anything else you wanted to say?
There was just
Tanya
one.
Richardson.
Thank you. There is just one mention, because we discussed the fact that we need more panel members and asked for you guys to send recommendations. Those have been received and been passed on to the appointments committee, and they are in the process of reviewing 3 of those applicants.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so we hope to, have some progress by the next meeting.
Be good. Okay, is there a motion to adjourn? All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you for your patience and